everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing great today. It is a very nice evening today, and today I want to talk about one of my absolute favorite perennials, especially this time of year. That is an aster. So this aster here, I actually have it growing in this really big pot. This is an aster that I've had for about 3 years. I got this 3 years ago, and I started it off in a 13-inch pot when I first planted it 3 years ago. I think 2 years after that, 1 or 2 seasons after that, I upgraded it to a 15-inch, or maybe it was 1 season, I don't know. And then this season, I upgraded it to this big, I think it's a 19-inch pot, and look at how massive it is. In fact, I'm gonna do like a little pan around here so you can see this thing in its glory. And this time of year, like late September, is especially when this aster and another one that I'm super excited to show you here in a minute, they just look their best at this time of year. So I want to show you a little bit about, show you my asters. Sorry, I can't talk today. Show you some of the asters I have blooming in my garden and how you can be successful with them. And so yeah, like I just said, this one was in a pot. So this one is kind of my pride and joy. I've had this one, like I said, for 3 years, and I am just amazed at how big it's gotten. I'd say this plant from end to end is probably 2-ish feet wide, maybe more, I don't know. This thing is massive, and it is absolutely gorgeous, and it definitely has more blooms on it this year. So yeah, this is the one aster I have, and this aster I think is called Daydream Aster. It's super pretty, and they just give you these beautiful, like, daisy-like flowers. It's beautiful purple flowers. Love it. And now I want to show you some other ones that actually aren't really blooming, but some more asters I planted. So this is another aster, and I actually have 4 of these that I planted. They're not, most of them are either don't have any blooms, or they have like just like these little like kind of spent blooms. I could probably just pull those off. But so yeah, these, I'm not sure what the variety is. I think this is just like a straight species one, like it isn't like a cultivated hybrid or anything. But yeah, here's one, and then there's another one over here, and I have 2 more that I'll show you. They basically look the same, but I'll just show you them anyway. So yeah, there's this one and this one. So I think you get the point. But actually, they were very pretty when they're blooming. In fact, I'll pop a picture of at least one of them up on the screen so you can see it. It was actually very pretty when it was blooming. So I really did like it, and I'm hoping, or at least I was hoping, that it would rebloom, because you see it has all these buds on it. I don't know if you can see that, yeah. Those are little buds. Not sure if they're gonna bloom or not, but we'll see. So those are the other asters I have, and now I have one more that I am absolutely dying to show you, and I think it might be my favorite plant that I've planted all this year. So these asters you see right here, these I think are my favorite asters that I have planted, and probably one of my favorite plants, honestly, that I've planted all season. This is called Henry III Aster. You can see they have just these gorgeous double blooms. They just look so gorgeous. I have the other one over here. I think this front one, though, I think is bigger. But just look at it. I don't know if you've ever seen this one before. I think I did see it yesterday, but for some reason I gave that one away, I think, to my neighbor. But I saw these in the garden center like almost 2 weeks ago, and I just had to have them. And here they are in all of their glory. They are so wonderful, especially at this time of year when a lot of the other perennials are kind of fizzling out. We're getting to that time of year when things start fizzling out, but asters just look glorious this time of year. And yeah, so those are the asters that I have in my garden. See, some of them were blooming and some of them were not blooming. Now I want to talk a little bit about their care. So they're really not, they're really not much different. Well, they're not really different than a lot of your other perennials, honestly. Like first and foremost, they do like full sun, if you can provide them with that. They would really appreciate that. However, they would probably be fine with partial shade as well. But again, full sun is always best. Soil, they are not super picky, it seems, about soil. They would prefer a rich soil, so I would try and amend it. And definitely, say it with me, make sure they are planted in well-drained soils. I feel like I say this every single time I do a video on like a how-to guide. Almost every single time I say they need to be in well-drained soil, and it is very important. They will not tolerate wet feet, and they will rot and die. So, especially over winter. So if you have really heavy clay soil like I do, this soil actually was not that bad. I actually had to clear out some daylilies here to plant these, but those orange daylilies, I cleared those out to plant these, which I think I like a lot more. But if your soil is really heavy clay, you need to amend it really well, make sure that it's draining out, or you can plant them in containers like that one I showed you at the beginning of the video. So yeah, they do need well-drained, preferably rich soil would be best, or at least moderately fertile would be best. But again, I don't think it really needs to be really, really rich, because actually, asters, at least most species of asters, are actually native to North America. So if you live in North America, where I live, then they should probably do fine in your native soil. Now, these specific ones you won't find in nature, because these are a hybrid variety, but you get the idea. So yeah, as for water, nothing special. They just like just your standard watering, just that 1 inch of water once a week, and they will be happy. So give them like that one really deep, thorough watering, especially if you haven't had rain. But I would recommend watering them a little bit more frequently while they are establishing. Especially if it's really dry like it is here. We're in a really bad drought here in Ohio. So I did not water these today, but I have been watering them, I think, every day for the first week and a half or so I had them. So yeah, but once they're established, they probably only need about 1 inch of water a week. So like a really good watering once a week, unless of course you have good rain, which if you do, great. So that's watering. Fertilizer, like I said, they're native. They have native genetics, so to the United States, and I think just to North America. At least most species are native to North America. I think I already said that, sorry. But, so, they don't seem to be very particular about feeding. And in fact, that one you saw earlier in the video, the one in the pot, what I did is I repotted it into a bigger pot with fresh soil, and I have not fertilized it ever since. So especially if you're growing them in pots, if you refresh the soil at the beginning of the season, they shouldn't require any additional feeding. So I guess, I don't know if it would hurt, but this is very important. Do not fertilize them when they start budding. When they start budding, do not feed them. I actually learned that tip a while back, but I'm glad I remembered it. So when you see them start budding, stop feeding them. I think it can actually cause them to, not sure exactly what happens, but I think they can bloom out sooner, or they'll just get kind of floppy. I think that's what it was. They'll get floppy. So don't feed them when they are starting to bud. And again, if you have semi-decent soil, they probably don't need it at all. So that's another thing that's really great about these, is they don't seem to need a lot of fertilizer. Now, as for some problems, now this one I don't see any issues. Doesn't seem like there's any issues on it, but on the one I showed you in the big pot, that one tends to get powdery mildew. Truth be told, if you see powdery mildew, it's like a little, and you'll know you'll have it because it's like this weird, like, it looks like a white powder on the leaves, which you won't see them on these leaves. These leaves are pretty nice and green. But on that other one, it does get powdery mildew. I personally don't really stress too much about it, especially if it's close to the end of the season, because I actually just remove all of the stems and just burn it or throw them out at the end of the season. But if you do see it, don't stress too much about it. They seem to be able to bloom through it, but you can treat it if you want, especially if it gets really bad. Maybe that might not be a bad idea, but I say don't stress too much about it. They'll probably bloom through it, again, unless it's really, really bad. But I haven't really had too much of an issue with them blooming with some powdery mildew. But I would definitely make sure that if they do, get rid of the stems and leaves, throw them in the trash, not in your compost. Put them in the trash or burn them. You want to get rid of them. But if they don't have it, I've heard that it's actually not a bad idea. You can actually leave these up. I think these would look really pretty, especially with like some snow on them. And the nice thing about leaving them up is it actually will insulate their crown. So that's like where the stems come up. So that actually helps to insulate their crown to help them over the winter. So if they're not diseased, I would suggest just leaving them up, or they don't have any insects, which I've never really had a problem with insects on them. But yeah, if they don't have any insects or disease, just leave them up. I think they would look really pretty in the snow. And also, at least, I don't know about these double varieties, but as for the single varieties, they actually have lots of seeds that the birds actually like to feed on. So that's a little tip there. So yeah, that's a little bit about asters. I just wanted to show you some of these beautiful asters I have in my garden and some tips on how you can be successful with them. And actually, one more thing about these that I thought was very interesting is Aster, they actually got their name from a Greek word meaning star. So I think that's a little interesting little bit of trivia for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys liked seeing these beautiful asters, and I hope if you don't have any, that you'd be encouraged to plant some. They're a really good addition to your fall garden, especially with like mums and things like that. So yeah, consider asters if you haven't already. If you guys enjoy this video, you guys give me a like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in another video very shortly. Thank you for watching.